Hello, Trojans. Welcome to our first set of notes. You can either do them on OneNote and save it as a PDF and submit it, or you can download it and write it on a Spiral notebook like we talked about in the previous video, or you can print it out and put it into your Spiral. But here are your notes. I encourage you to pause the video whenever you need to catch up on writing any part of it, or if you are still trying to work out a problem on your own, I do that as well. All right, let's get started. So section 1.1 and 1.2 is evaluate expressions in order of operations. Okay, this comes from chapter 1 about expressions, equations, and functions. Now, the main difference between an expression and equation is an equal sign. So expressions do not have equal signs. So we're going to talk about that a little bit here. Our essential question is, how do I evaluate an algebraic expression using substitution and the correct order of operations? So how do I evaluate an algebraic expression using substitution and the correct order of operation? Okay, our first definition that we need to do is variable. And variable is simply a letter used to represent one or more numbers. A letter used to represent one or more numbers. Okay. Next up, algebraic expression. Algebraic expression is a collection of math symbols and numbers with at least one variable. And note, like we talked about earlier, there is no equal sign. There is no equal sign. Okay, so I'd box that. If you need to pause the video to catch up on your vocab words, please do so. Otherwise, continue on. Okay. Concept number 1 is evaluating an algebraic expression. It says evaluate given expression when C equals 4. A, B, and C on these example 1 are all expressions because they have no equal sign. But this problem is telling you that C is 4. So we can plug 4 in for wherever C is. Okay? So 4 times C is really 4 times 4, which is 16. We'll put a box around it. 8 over C is really 8 over 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Put a box around it. 15 plus C is really 15 plus 4. Okay, add it together, you get 19. Box around it. Okay, that's how you do example number 1. Now, example number 2 is pretty similar, but in this case, y equals 2. So instead of 6 times y, it's 6 times 2. 6 times 2 equals 12. Put a box around it. Okay, 8 over y is 8 over 2. That equals 4. Put a box over it. Y plus 4 is really 2 plus 4. Add them together, you get 6. Okay, lastly, it's 11 minus, you just put in 2 here. It's the same thing as 11 minus 2, which is 9. Box it. All right, that is our first page, first example. Now we are going to go on to example 3. Okay, example 3 on the next slide is talking about expressions using exponents. Okay, a power is an expression that represents repeated multiplication of the same factor. For example, 81 is the power of 3 because 81 is equal to 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So there's 3 times you multiply 3 by itself. Okay, excuse me, there's 4 different 3s you're multiplying by together. So there's 4 factors of 3. So that means it's 3 to the 4th power. Okay, got that? Your base is 3 because that's the number. The power, or your exponent, is 4 because there are 4 3's being multiplied. All right, got it? A power can be written in a form using two numbers, a base and an exponent. The exponent represents the number of times the base is used as a factor. So 81 can be written as 3 to the 4th power. All right, write the given expressions in Word and as a product. Okay, so on this one, we're going to write them out. So 1 over 5 to the 1st power. So that means we have 1 factor of 1/5, which is equal to 1. That's the identity. Anything to the 1st power is always itself. It's an identity property. Okay. On B, it says 6 squared. Okay, so that means we have 2 factors of 6, which is 6 times 6. Okay, which is equal to 36, but we don't need to write that down. P to the 4th, that means we have 4 factors of P, which is P times P times P times P. And this one, it says 2a to the 3rd power. So it means we have 3 factors of 2a, which is the same thing as 2a times 2a times 2a. All right, pause if you need more time on this section, otherwise we're going on. Example 4 says, evaluate the given expression. Okay, it says n to the 5th power. That means we have 5 factors, okay, of n, all right? We can write that again as 3 to the 5th, because n equals 3, which means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. You got that? 3 times 9, that's 27. 3 times 27, that is, like we talked about, 81. 81 times 3, that's 243. And that's our answer. Okay. Next up, d squared, when d equals 9 to the 5th power. So it's 9 over 5 squared. So that's the same thing as 9 over 5 times 9 over 5. Which is the same thing as 9 times 9 over 5 times 5, which equals to 81 over 25. Multiply across. Now, example C, it says x to the 3rd power when x equals 8. So it means we plug in that 8. So we have 3 factors of 8. So it's simply 8 times 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 8 is 512. And that's our final answer. Box it. Okay. Zoom in a little bit if you can't see. Okay. Let's see. Letter D, k squared when k equals 5. This one should be a you try. So I want you to pause right now and do this on your own. All right, if you've attempted it, please now watch me do it. So we plug in that k, or plug in 5 for k, so it's 5 squared. Same thing as 5 times 5, which is equal to 25. Now on E, it's d to the 3rd power when d is 1/3. So you do 1/3 to the 3rd power, which is the same thing as 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. You multiply across. 1 times 1 times 1 across is 1. So that number stays constant up above. But 3 times 3 times 3, we already know 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So we know it's going to be 1 over 27. Final answer. Now we are going to go on to example, or on the next slide, which is PEMDAS. Okay, we know that we've talked about the device of PEMDAS to help us remember the order of operations, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which is the same thing as parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, and then finally addition or subtraction. On these two, they're interchangeable, but the rule is you always go from left to right. Okay, just how you read, left to right. So if you have addition or subtraction, you do whichever one comes first after you've already accomplished the ones above. So P, like we said, P stands for parentheses, okay? E stands for exponent. M stands for multiplication. D stands for division. A stands for addition. S stands for subtraction. Okay? These, you need to know both of these. You do them from left to right. All right, pretty good. Now let's go on and do example number 5, which will be the last part for this video. And you'll have one more video for your notes for today. Example number 5 says, evaluate the given expression one step at a time. You must show all steps. And it's important because to show each step by step so you know where you go wrong. If you do go wrong, or you can see how the order operations play out. Okay, so first one, we have two different operations. Okay, we have a subtraction and we have an exponent. So we have 2 factors of 4. Okay, so we're going to do that one first. 2 factors of 4 is 4 times 4, which is 16. Now 20 minus 16, simply 4. Put a box around it. Again, pause if I'm going too fast, because you can always pause me or you can rewind. All right. On B, it's 2 times 3 squared plus 4. 3 squared, that's simply 9. So it's 2 times 9 plus 4. Then we need to take care of our multiplication. 2 times 9 is 18 plus 4. 18 plus 4 is simply 22. Box around it. Okay, C, it says 15 plus 6 squared minus 4. Okay, we leave that 15 alone. 6 squared becomes 36 minus 4. Now we go from left to right. 15 plus 36 is 51. Then you have minus 4. 51 minus 4 is 47. Box around it. D, I'd like you guys to try to do D on your own. Pause the video. Again, it's going to be important that you try to do it, and then you can compare your answer with mine. You can always change it. All right, so you unpause the video after you already tried, so let's go on and do this. So it's 32 divided by 2 to the third power is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, so 32 divided by 8. Okay, then you add 6 at the end. 32 divided by 8 is 4. 4 plus 6, 10. Box it. Now, C, all right, or excuse me, on E, okay, there's 4 different operations going on here. Again, exponent is the highest one, so we're going to take care of that first. 4 squared, 16. Excuse me, there's a divided by 3 before that. Next up, we do left to right. So that means we do 12 divided by 3 before we times by 16. So it's going to be 6 plus 4 times 16. Then we do the 4 times 16, which is equal to 64. So 6 plus 64. 64 plus 6 equals 70. And we will box around that. Okay, so we're done with this first part of the video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. If I'm going too fast, again, rewind, pause the video. If you have any feedback on this, please email me as well. All right, don't forget to go on to the second video attached.